This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY, and it is sponsored by Independent Bank. It's a half hour of local chat every weekend on Saturday mornings at 8:30, and Independent Bank is our sponsor. You can also find the broadcast on YouTube and also on the Cadillac Unscripted Facebook page as well, if you happen to miss all or part of it. Katy Huckle, my co-host. Katy, OASIS Family Resource Center in the spotlight this weekend.
Yeah, big time.
All right.
And so this nonprofit is very, very, very close to my heart.
I know it is. I know it is.
And so we have Amber and Cyndi, leadership team from the OASIS Family Resource Center, and big event. Amber, tell us what's coming up and what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. This is lots of fun, and we appreciate the time to get to share what we're doing because we think it's really cool and important too, and we love to get our name out and our services out in the community any chance we can get. So this year, of course, we had to revamp what we normally do for our fundraisers just because of COVID. But, I think it's okay. I think sometimes a little sidestep and then back in is okay. So most people usually are hearing about our Celebrate Women event, which is really exciting and a long-standing event in our community. And we were really hoping that we could pull it through this year. But it's such a big event. Normally around 300 people gather, and it's just not something that we felt like we could make virtual. There's so much behind it that we just really didn't feel like we could do it justice. And it would have been our 25th year, which deserves a really big party.
It sure does. 25 years we've been doing this? I mean,
you've been involved since.
So I brought this event from the state of Minnesota to Cadillac 25 years ago.
Okay, so
and we
you've been
tweaked
there
it
since the beginning.
Yes. So I served on the board for
4 years old when this started.
But it's crazy. Okay, now you're enjoying that way more than you should. You're dating me.
We need to have a webcam in here.
No, we do not need to have a webcam in here. No, we do not.
Anyway.
Okay, back up. We digress. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So we wanted to highlight female leaders in the community, and we wanted to celebrate women and the role that women play in the community. And so we brought in law enforcement to help us raffle off baskets, and we brought in models, the local valedictorians from our high schools would model for us, and we would have the ladies wear clothing from local stores, including our own resale store, Second Chance, and it snowballed, and it turned into, didn't it, ladies, a signature event in Cadillac with the help of a lot of strong women. And we never got a no. Anytime we'd call for a corporate sponsorship or a basket, it was always, yes, what can I do? Do you need help with the event? And if you can believe it, Rich, I have people like Melissa Schultz, Barb Tatterchuck, Judy Coffey, who have been giving me baskets for 25 years. And so the ladies, they come to this lunch, and this is where we're going to get to the money piece of how we've got to raise some money for this agency. But they come to this lunch and they get so excited because think about it. What do women love? Women love food. Women love fashion. Women love winning things. Oh, yes. And then women love to hear about other women leaders, other female leaders. And so it was just this trifecta, if you will, of things that ladies like.
I will tell you that I think the Celebrate Women event is what introduced me to you.
Is that right?
Because I believe I had you on the radio to talk about it at the other job that I worked at, and that is how we met.
Oh, my God. See?
And here we are.
All those years later. I can't believe it. Well, so we get to what we need to talk about today, and that is OASIS decided to throttle back and focus on serving their clients during the pandemic. And so Amber came to her committee and said, we haven't had a fundraiser, okay? What we need to raise some money. So now it's back to you. Tell us how we're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year we're having a survivors auction, and we really named that because we really want the community to get behind and understand every single dollar raised comes back to serving survivors. I will tell you, this week was a picture-perfect example of why we need those dollars. Women were coming through our doors. I was sitting supporting survivors. We were just pulling everyone from every angle, every need possible you could need or think of that needed to be met. Were just showing up, and I was so thankful we were there. Yes. I was so thankful that our doors were open. And so that's why we really termed it a survivor's auction. That's what we show up to do every day. That's what we've been committed to all these years, is to say we want to end violence. These women and men also are survivors. They have strength, they have hope, they are valued, and we want to walk alongside them. So we're still going to have the same amazing baskets, which I think is also another really signature piece of the event. It's different than other auction items at events. The baskets come with themes, and they're put together gorgeous. So we're going to have baskets, and it's going to be online, and we're hoping to have some social media around there, just sharing some stories of what we do. And so people really feel like, yes, you're getting these gorgeous baskets, and you're really showing up for survivors to say, we support you as a community, you're valued, and you don't have to do this alone.
Oh, wow. Now that gets me just a little choked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the baskets, Rich, women can get competitive. Did you know that? They get a little competitive. Yeah.
You hear me laughing the way I laugh.
Wait till you see these baskets.
Okay.
I mean, I'm telling you, like Deb, we call Deb Ballard the basket queen. And it's no joke that Deb runs CRA. CRA stands for the Community Reinvestment Act. And it's banks getting involved in their community and stepping up to meet needs. And Deb Ballard runs that for TCF. Deb stepped up to help us with baskets years ago. So maybe once in a while we'd get an ugly duckling. You know, someone just threw a couple of things in a basket. Well, Deb would take that basket. She must have like inventory in her basement or something. And she would turn it into just this glorious thing. And she would add all these different things that tied it all together. So you see people that do ladybug baskets where everything's themed in ladybugs, or someone who does children outside, sidewalk chalk and jump ropes and things to keep kids active. We can't do any lottery tickets or alcohol. That is a no-no. So everything else is, designed to get highest bidders. And it's not one of those things that you look at it and it has a finite value. You got to look at it and go, I really want that, and I'm going to step up and pay for it. So, Amber, tell us how many baskets, if the world was a perfect place, I should maybe ask Cyndi this question. How many baskets do we need to have donated to hit your number? And what is that number, Cyndi? How much money do you want to raise on this thing?
In my imaginary world, I would like to have 100 baskets.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I dream big.
You know our max was 42, right?
That we don't care what the max was.
Oh, we don't care about that.
There is no max anymore.
Oh, wow.
You
got a winner here,
I was going to
Amber.
say, we really need the baskets to come in. We really need to have people bid high on them. We really are looking to raise about $10,000 here.
Okay, that's a lot of money. So, and we did ask our basket donors to make the value, the retail value, right, $100. And so my dear friend, Helen Pell, whose family has just been huge in developing Cadillac and growing Cadillac, big part of the community. She says to me, well, I'm doing all my baked and canned goods. How do I make that $100? I said, do you know what people will pay for homemade applesauce, for homemade bisque, for homemade jams and jellies and pickles?
We already know what people will pay for a Katy cake.
Well, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I maybe should do a basket of all cakes. How about that, girls? Yeah.
Absolutely. I personally reached out to my mother. My mother makes beautiful quilts.
Ooh.
And she said, well, my quilts aren't worth a whole lot. And I said, Mom, a homemade quilt.
They're one of a kind.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You can't put a number on that.
Absolutely. And it's a generational thing. Her great-grandmother taught her about quilts. So, we'll tell a story with the quilt.
Yeah.
And it will absolutely be beautiful. And it's something that people will pay hundreds for, and my mother just doesn't see the value. And so we're just really excited about the variety of things that we're going to have to offer.
She's going to be so tickled when that thing goes for big
She
money.
is.
You got
She
to tell her she's got to brag about it just a little bit to her
She
friends.
does. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she will.
Okay, so what's come in so far that's a wow?
The biggest wow that I'm going to bid on is
right.
a winery tour. Yeah, for 4.
Whoa.
And I apologize that I can't pronounce the name of the winery. Bolba?
Yes.
Up in Leland.
I have been to that winery. It's owned by a star, a celebrity.
Yeah. And so I just really am intrigued by that because I think that could really have, it's unique.
It might be Bilboa. It might be.
I think you might be right. Yeah,
Okay.
I think
but I've been there, and their food's amazing too.
I looked everything up after I got it in the mail, and I was just so excited that I thought, I think I might have an inside track on that one, but I'm willing to pay a high because I think it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And let me tell you something. You guys are so close to it because you're working in it every day and you're working with victims and survivors. The agency is so strong and what their work is so important, Rich, that when you are, let's say, a spokesperson for the agency and you're out trying to fundraise in the community and ask for money, there's never a no. And there's never, folks want to know what they can do. One year, I forgot to call a local restaurant owner, and I got an irate phone call. And it was, I am so offended that I wasn't contacted to be a part of your event. And I said, you know what? That's my bad. And so it's not just we want to be a part of it, but we don't want to miss out on participating. And it's because of the work you're doing, the lives that you're touching. Yeah.
I started with the organization in December. And when I talked to Amber, I said, absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely knew this was the next opportunity that I wanted in my life because of the work that's done.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, what's more important? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And, from a personal end, OASIS was there when my sister needed it. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you give back?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And there's a misnomer out there, Rich, about socioeconomic. That really has nothing to do with anything. This is something that impacts all levels of life for families. And like Amber said, men too. Can you talk to us a little bit about the stats, Amber? I know we're talking about a fun luncheon, but I think folks need to hear how many folks you work with and help.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very interesting within the last year just to watch the trends and the need change in some ways and stay the same in some ways. Okay. I would say on average we're answering around 800 to 900 crisis calls a year.
Oh, man.
That's been what it's averaged over the last 3 years or so. We are about 1,600 bed nights a year. That has been difficult this year, which is another really huge need for this event, is that we've had to decrease our shelter capacity because...
Oh, sure, because of COVID.
Yeah, we can't have as many survivors from different households together as we normally would have, house them. And so we've had to utilize different ways, which has cost the agency more, but it's just been prioritized. But it's something, we're constantly monitoring because the need shifts up and down so often.
Right.
And sometimes we're way over capacity and there's, they're housed in different ways. And sometimes we're not, but we don't know how long. That's what's been interesting over the last year. At first it felt like, oh yeah, we can get through this for the next 6 months or the next year even.
Right.
And now we're looking at this thinking, I'm not sure we're ever going for a long time be able to be back at our capacity in our shelter facility.
Right.
And so that's a long-term thing that we're really reconsidering, is to still make sure that we can respond to the need of survivors and their families to make sure that they have a safe place to go. And also make sure financially we can sustain that for them.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I'm so confident in this community, and I try and make sure our staff know that all the time, is if people know that's a need, it's about how we present what the need is.
Right.
Because this community isn't going to let someone be unsafe.
It's true. Community is going to step up.
Absolutely. I have no doubt. They always have. If there's a need, for a bed or a vacuum or towels, whatever the need is, a lawnmower. This person just got their new home and, in the city they have to mow the lawn. I don't know what it is, but there just shouldn't be a thing. Because I know people want to help. There's different roles and levels that we can all help at.
Right.
And for some, supporting financially is the way that they feel connected, and we certainly meet those needs that come forward.
Right. So Rich, you see this smiling face over here. She's the executive director, and she has a serious education background in this too. And so when Amber came to OASIS, I remember thinking, does she know what she's getting into? Because you see this beautiful smile, but the work that she does is so unbelievably stressful and sad and traumatizing. And somehow she just seems to just do that job and run the show and have a smile on her face and shake hands and kiss babies and keep it going. And so you've got already a crisis situation with women in families in crisis, and then you add the pandemic on top of it. And as you can hear, she's like, we're just going to keep on keeping on. And so we haven't had an ask to the community, really. And so I'd like to throw it out there to the listeners that if you want to donate a basket, call Cyndi at the OASIS office. If you want to donate money, we would love it, because that would just go right to this bottom line of $10,000. I think in our most successful year, we were up over $20,000. So we're asking for half of what we would typically raise, because we used to be able to make money on table sponsors and on ticket sales and on the luncheon itself. I can remember when we launched, our very first one was at the Cadillac Country Club. And the Cadillac Country Club had a facility on the lake at that time. And I remember someone telling me, Katie, there's no way women in Cadillac will spend $20 on lunch or $15 on lunch. And I thought, let's just throw it out there. Let's just see. Now the tickets are what, $25 for lunch, and we sell out, you know. But a crazy story, and I don't know if you two know this story, but Grace McKellop, who was our first female director of the Chamber of Commerce here in Cadillac, who opened the sweet shop. That was Grace's store. Okay. She was our first woman honoree, a business leader. She was a force of nature. And so we thought she was going to stand up and talk about her store and her success and business and the business climate of Cadillac and what made her successful. And instead, she told us a harrowing story of abuse growing up. And there wasn't a dry eye in the place. Corey Lindell and I were trying to MC with tears streaming down her face. It was an out-of-body experience as she stoically and bravely stood up there and said, this happened to me.
Wow.
And it gives me the chills still thinking about it. Mm-hmm. What a brave woman in so many ways. So this has given us an opportunity to share the story. And I love it because Amber has switched victims to survivors, and that means hope. Hope's out there.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be right back with more of Amber and Cyndi with Cadillac Unscripted.
Cadillac Unscripted, we're back on 107.9 CDY. And Katie, we're almost at 18 months on the show. We have been doing this since the first Saturday of January 2020 with our first guest, Chef Herman, who's been back a couple of times.
Oh, he sure has.
A year and a half worth of local chat. This is what local radio, I believe, is all about. Supporting what's going on in the community and trying to do good, which is what we have happening this morning here in the studio.
You know, it's true. And when Jen came to us and asked us to launch the show, ladies, she said, let's keep it positive. You know, there's enough going on that brings people down. Let's keep it positive. And so then the pandemic hit. And boy,
how hard was it to be positive during that?
Rainbows and butterflies, Rich. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Anyway, we have two very important ladies in the studio with us this morning. We've got Amber and Cyndi, executive director and then head of communications and fundraising for OASIS. And these ladies have had to reconfigure a beloved community event called Celebrate Women. And, you know, we can't gather 300 women at the Cadillac Grill as much as Yoda would love to accommodate us. And she does an amazing job. We just can't do it. And so these ladies came to the committee and said, this is what this is going to look like. Now, I think on our biggest basket gathering year, we gathered 42 baskets. The baskets retail at $100 minimum a piece, but some of them go for $250 to $350. Like Cyndi was telling us about this wine tasting tour. I mean, that's worth $100 a person all day, every day. So we need baskets to be donated. And so, ladies, tell us how, if I'm listening this morning, how do I get a basket to you, and how do I let you know that I'm going to be donating a basket?
Yes, we would love that. We love to see what comes through our doors, and people are so creative, and you can tell the energy and intention that went behind making the baskets.
Right.
You know, they don't just throw a few things in. They really get creative and really organize something special. So please call our administration offices, ask for Cyndi.
Yep.
Let her know that you're interested in a basket. She will add you right to our list, and she will make arrangements with you to either pick up or have you drop off to us when the event is closer, or anytime really that you want to get it off your plate. And then we will we'll just make that connection with you.
Everybody gets so excited when these baskets come in, Rich, because they're beautiful. It's hard for me to describe it. It's stuff that ladies want. Perfume and scarves and jewelry and makeup and food. And I mean, we've seen the Italy basket over the years, with the pasta and the breadsticks and the sauces and that kind of stuff. So olive oil. And so if you get 100 different baskets, that's going to be 100 different themes. And I just want to encourage people to think about, upcoming holidays and birthdays and reasons to give this as a gift. It would make it extra special to gift one of these baskets to somebody, because you could say to them, look, OASIS needed to fundraise and we stepped up, and so happy birthday.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed by it. That is not my gift. I'm not creative at all. I mean,
you can't be everything, Amber.
I'm definitely not. I mean, you would get for me like a jar candle and I don't know, a candy bar. That's like what I got to offer.
Doesn't everybody have their gifts though?
They do,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They blow me away. I could never, the way they pair stuff together and the way they present it, the presentation always blows my mind. I was trying to think of what my favorite basket has been over the years. I don't know.
So, and just for donors, let's say you did have a bunch of beautiful pickles or canned goods, gems, jellies, that kind of stuff. Deb Ballard can make anything look pretty. I'm telling you, she can. She's got the basket. She's got the cellophane. She's got the tissue paper, the ribbons. And so all of a sudden, it's stuff that you would want. It just doesn't maybe look pretty together. Don't worry. We got it. And Deb can fix it. So I want to encourage some of our busier folks that, they might donate this and this and this, but they don't have the time to pretty it up. Also, we've got enough retailers in Cadillac that if you wanted to donate a basket, you could call a store and say, I just had Ultimate Gift do this for me the other day. I called and said, I have folks moving to the area from another state, and so I want a Michigan basket. Dried cherries and a cutting board, and she's actually got a cooler bag that has drawings of the state, all the cities and lakes and all that in the state. And so by the time I got down there, 45 minutes later, it was done. And it was beautiful. So,
amazing.
If you're a busy person out there, you could always call a store and ask them to get a basket ready. Then you pick it up and you drop it off to Cyndi.
We can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. It's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be like Christmas almost to take a look at those coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm grabbing the mic now.
Okay.
Amber had me clean my office. She moved me from my small office to a big office.
I'll bet she did.
In anticipation of this. So we are totally prepared for any possible thing that can come our way. And
careful.
We would love to have my office that I would have to shimmy from my desk to the door. So
if that happens, I'm coming to watch.
Absolutely. I will do a shimmy live for radio.
Whoa. Very funny. See, Rich is going to get a webcam in here, so you better be careful.
I'm not particularly strong at math, but if your goal of 100 baskets at $100 a piece, I think that's $10,000.
It sure is.
That's if I've got my zeros right.
Okay, so now let me just say this.
And you're saying, and some of these baskets go for much more than $100.
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
So let's say I bake what I perceive to be $100 worth of cakes. Mm-hmm. Somebody might be having a graduation open house. Somebody might be having a big party, and maybe that person had planned on spending $250 on cakes and buys mine instead. That kind of stuff happens. And so I do want to encourage people to be generous, because we know that the value of each basket, the base value, is going to be at $100. So wouldn't it be, imagine if people paid $150 for 100 baskets.
That's $15,000.
$15,000. That's right. So Amber, can we talk about, I want potential donors and our listeners to know, what do you use the money for? For someone who isn't that familiar with the agency, I mean, let's get to the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, so we are about 85% funded by state and federal grants.
Okay.
It's wonderful. We have a great relationship. We've had those funding streams for a long time. Mm-hmm. So they've been consistent. They're stable. They change every once in a while. But also with those, they all have very particular guidelines and expectations and allowable costs that they will allow for us.
I see.
So a lot of survivor needs, unfortunately, are not supported through those funds.
Okay.
So this is, and supporting a shelter, an emergency shelter, is highly costly. It's used consistently all the time, around the clock. And so repairs and maintenance, making sure, there can be 16 people in there at a time, making sure all their own individual needs are met when it comes to their hygiene needs, and making sure we're being sensitive to different dietary needs and understanding and cultural needs when it comes to any sort of product. We really believe in that stuff. Sometimes people come with pets, and we have to really support them in need. They'll say, I can't leave if I can't bring my pet. I'm going to stay.
Wow.
Well, that's not an option, right?
No.
We have to be able to support that survivor. So that other, 15%, although it's not a ton of our budget, it is really crucial pieces of our budget, and it offers the infrastructure of the agency for services to be offered. If we didn't have that other percent, in some ways, I'm really happy that number is 15%. We want to make sure most of our funds are spent on service delivery. But that infrastructure piece that percent also plays a part in is crucial. We wouldn't be able to do service delivery without that.
Wow. And your team, I know you all are thick as thieves. And when you work at OASIS, you become part of a sisterhood, if you will. And this is a crazy story. About 10 years ago, I was on your board. And I got a phone call that there was a woman who had been admitted into shelter that did not speak English, and no one could understand her. She'd come to the hospital, been dropped off because her 2-year-old had a burned foot. And the physician at the hospital got a hold of OASIS and suspected human trafficking, which it turned out to be. So I get a phone call at my office because I speak Spanish. And maybe I could come and help this woman so we could understand what happened, what she needed, what type of counseling and help she needed. So I get to the shelter, which is an undisclosed location, and walk up, and the advocate's waiting for me. Well, she spoke Portuguese, which is different than Spanish, but we could ham and egg it. We could kind of understand what the other one was saying. And her story was horrific. And so when I left there, I realized you people have a special place in heaven for what you do. And I looked at the shelter advocate and I said, is it like this all day, every day? And she said, it is. And I said, I'm going back to my office now. You are incredible and amazing. Bye. So I don't think folks realize it's knock, knock, knock. I'm in a crisis. Help. Day after day, hour after hour. And then this constant fluidity of people leaving and people coming, and them trying to create a segue in a successful life and giving them some basic life skills, how to interview, how to keep a job, how to cook, how to maintain a clean home. It's starting over with someone who's been damaged and hurt.
Yeah, I think trauma presents itself in so many different ways in these survivors. One thing that always will ground me is what they teach us and how resilient they are. It's really amazing. And we just count it an honor and a gift when they're willing to allow us into their story every day. Right. I get small opportunities to sit with survivors, and those are always really special days to me that I get to do that. But the staff that are doing this, my job is to take care of them because they are doing it day in and day out. So we work really, really hard to make sure that they have space and they have time to really care for themselves.
Wow, that's awesome. What is your favorite part about your job?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that one.
Oh, Cyndi says it's her. She's Amber's favorite.
She's my favorite.
Well, don't tell anybody else.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, the favorite. I think what is so amazing to me is it would be hard to choose between seeing every day the strength and the resiliency in survivors.
Okay.
When you just think, wow, I'm not sure I could have gone through that. And they just keep doing it, and they grow and they thrive and they keep moving forward. That always amazes me. The other thing that I love is I think I get to engage this on so many different levels. I get amazing opportunities with the community. I get to solve problems within the organization and within the community to try and make a big systems difference. And then some days I get to sit with a survivor. And so I love the different perspectives that I really hope from my position really helps me make the best decisions for the agency long term.
No one day is the same for you, Amber.
It is not the same, no.
Wow. So I like to ask nonprofit directors the question, right,
The
Rich?
question.
This is the question. If money were no object, where would you take your organization?
If that is easy. That's not hard.
Really? That's the first time we've heard that.
I've been dreaming. I'm always in this state of dreaming and being here, right? I think we have to have both. So,
You bet.
I really would love a different facility. I'd love to build a new facility. I dream of more apartment-like spaces for survivors. You know, they come, they're adults. They don't want to share bedrooms. They want their own personal space and privacy, and we want to respect that. And so and also having our facility together, I think would make services be even stronger than they really are. So if money were an object, I would certainly build a new facility that I felt like gave individuals more autonomy than they currently get.
Boy, somebody needs to write her a big check, Rich. Okay.
The only thing we haven't covered now is when. When and where.
Thank you. Yes, that's an important one, right? June 15th to June 19th. Coming right up. You can find links on our website. You can find links on our Facebook page. There'll be a QR code that you can just scan. It'll bring you right to the online auction. So it's only running for 4 days. So it's going to be fast, which is very similar to how we normally run it at the actual event. You got to be quick. So get on there. Are you doing any sneak peeks, or do they have to just get on the 15th?
We are going to do some sneak peeks.
Whoa.
Mostly because we're just too excited. You know, we are children.
It's like a secret you can't keep.
You got that right. It's kids at Christmas morning.
Yeah.
We are just so excited about what the opportunities and what the community is sharing with us that we really want to share. So.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited, ladies. You know, good for you for revamping this and giving us something to be excited about and look forward to. I mean, we all have cabin fever. We're stir crazy. And so to have something positive and fun happening to support your amazing organization, we just can't wait.
Thank you for all your support. We couldn't do it without the community.
Awesome. There they are, Amber and Cyndi with OASIS. Please support our Survivors Auction 2021. It starts on June 15th.
Next week, more local chat, same time, same station, sponsored by Independent Bank, Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY.